Namaste and welcome to Yin and Restorative Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua, and for today's practice, physically we'll be focusing on opening up the area of the hip flexors, bringing the hips into extension, among other things. So make sure that you have two blocks. You can see that behind me, a bolster, which is a pillow, a blanket, and a strap. And take any of your props so that you can sit on it to begin, bringing your legs out in front of you. Find a comfortable way to feel grounded, rooting down evenly through both sides of your pelvis, left and right, and feel upright. Open up space in the torso for the breath, relax the shoulders and the whole body, and make a conscious transition from whatever you were attending to before this to right here in this moment, beginning your practice of uniting body, mind, breath, spirit, yoga. So I thought that in the next few days, starting today, each day I would sequentially read a few of the Yoga Sutras from the wisdom teachings of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, as translated by Nischala Joy Devi. And just like the different poses or asanas in yoga, we don't only strike the pose once and never again. And so with the sutras as well. You may have heard some before, and you may have heard some worded differently before, but notice how you digest them now through your recent experiences in life and how they land, how they resonate with you. So find a way to be still in your body. Allow a few deep breaths to embody presence, inhaling and exhaling. Maybe close the eyes. So Yoga Sutra number 1. With humility, an open heart and mind, we embrace the sacred study of yoga. With humility, an open heart and mind, we embrace the sacred study of yoga. Sutra 2. Yoga is the uniting of consciousness in the heart. Yoga is the uniting of consciousness in the heart. Sutra 3. United in the heart, consciousness is steadied. Then we abide in our true nature, joy. United in the heart, consciousness is steadied. Then we abide in our true nature, joy. And Sutra 4. At other times, we identify with the rays of consciousness, which fluctuate and encourage our perceived suffering. At other times, we identify with the rays of consciousness, which fluctuate and encourage our perceived suffering. Sense what you're feeling in your physical body right now. Notice any physical sensations and even felt sense, more energetic type sensations. Observe the qualities of the breath without changing the way you're breathing. And through it, notice how you're feeling energetically. Bring your awareness to the energy of your heart, what feels emotionally alive in you right now. You might even place a hand there at your heart center. Notice how your mind feels. Observing the kinds of thoughts that have been influencing the way you feel emotionally. And then maybe unite your palms at your heart center, gesturing union and gratitude. Allowing a moment to offer gratitude for anything that you feel grateful for. Then clarify your intention. What inspires you to show up to your yoga practice today? What are you inviting in to your experience? And as we open the scope of who benefits from this practice, remembering that we are part of a larger whole, to whom might you dedicate today's practice? Maybe someone you care about, or a community, or even larger than that. And in support of each other, creating resonant space, let's join our voices to chant Om 3 times. Inhale. As you continue to breathe slowly, start to balance intentionally the length of your inhalations with the length of your exhalations, placing a hand at the chest and a hand at the lower belly. I'll count to 5 as you breathe into your nose and 5 as you breathe out through the nose, and then we'll start to slow it down to even 7 counts. So as you place your hands there, invite the breath to expand into both palms and all around your torso, the front, the back, the sides, up and down. So empty this breath, breathing just through the nose. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try another cycle on your own. And notice any shift in your mental, emotional, or energetic physical state. The breath is powerful. So remember to use this tool of regulating a balance and lengthening the breath in and out as we are opening up the body and inviting a balance of energy flow through it. And even as we're holding still in the postures, start to create, if you're not already, a very soft whispering sound to the breath by gently narrowing the back of your throat. And here, practicing what's called victorious breath, or in Sanskrit, it's called Ujjayi Pranayama. So expanding all throughout the torso with the in-breath and emptying to the very bottom of the out-breath. Keep that slow rhythm that you can gently hear through much of this physical practice. And we'll use it as well to move our bodies as we're going to move gently to start before we hold our yin and restorative postures. So with that, come down to your back, lying down on the floor, bending your right knee into your chest. Relax your shoulders on the ground and down the back. And then start to rotate your right foot slowly at the ankle. Go in one direction a few times. Notice any sensations throughout the leg or anywhere from this movement. And then go in the opposite direction a few times. Can you still hear that whispering sound in the breath? And then from here, slide your right leg forward and let's switch. Bend the left knee into your chest. Take hold of your thigh or shin with both hands. And rotate your left foot a few times in one direction and a few times in the opposite. So as I mentioned, we're going to be focusing quite a bit on the hip flexors today. That's the fronts of the hips mostly, bringing the hips into extension. But we always warm up the whole body. So now take your two bent knees and hold them with your hands as you begin to circle your thighs apart and back together. Apart and back together. Keep going a few more times. Go really slow, just like the pace of your breathing. A few times in one direction and a few times in the opposite direction. Notice any sensations you're feeling, especially around your pelvis, your hips, the tops of your thighs. And then take hold of your bent knees and start to rock in any direction that feels good. Maybe rock sideways, massaging your lower back into the ground. Maybe rock forward and back, massaging up and down the spine. Keep listening to the breath, keeping a steady rhythm. Eventually rock all the way forward and let's come down to hands and knees. Tabletop. As you spread your fingers towards the front of your mat, point the index fingers forward so they're either parallel to each other or slightly turned out. Stack your shoulders on top of your wrists and step your knees a couple inches behind your hips. As you breathe in, draw your chest forward and coil it up, entering cow pose. As you breathe out, slowly contract your abdomen, dropping your head to round your back into cat pose. Let's keep going another 4 cycles of breath here. Inhale, lengthen your torso forward, then roll the shoulders behind you and gaze up. Exhale, press down with your hands, keeping the arms straight as you lift the belly in. Drop your head to round. Follow your pace of breath. 2 or 3 more cycles. The cat-cow pose in Sanskrit is called Bitalasana. Now remember that you are in charge of your physical body and know what's happening most intimately. So if your body's asking for an adjustment of what I'm suggesting you practice, feel free to get creative and use your props, opt out if you need to, do what is appropriate for you and pace yourself. And then from here, spread the thumbs flat towards each other, wrap your triceps or outer upper arms towards your rear wall, and then tuck your toes, lift your hips high and back, entering downward facing dog. Spend a few breaths pedaling your feet slowly in place, so that as you bend one knee generously, you can straighten the opposite leg and press the heel into the ground. Notice if your breathing has changed. Come back to that slow,
gently audible rhythm, a way to bridge your mind and body in the present moment. Relax the neck, shake the head no a few times as you lift the shoulders back away from it. Nod your head yes a few times. And as your hands are pressing into the ground, draw your weight as far to the rear of your mat as you can, lifting the hips high. Press your chest towards your shins. Keep rolling your triceps towards the ground. And let the head just fall. Land your eyes on one gazing point for another cycle of breath. This posture in Sanskrit is Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Start to walk up to the front of your mat, entering a standing forward fold, feet apart at least hips distance. And as you look down at your toes spread, parallel your second toes to each other. Bend your knees so much that your spine can easily unwind. Then reach the hands behind your lower back, either clasping your hands or holding a strap between them so that you can space the hands apart as much as you need. As you breathe in, firm the belly and lift your chest, stretching your spine forward. Roll your shoulders back. Keep the hands together and exhale, bow forward, completely dropping your skull as you stretch your arms further away from your lower back. Tilt your weight forward, and again, feel free to bend the knees as much as you need so you don't feel any strain in the back of your body. Maybe swaying the spine side to side, help to loosen it up. As you're stretching the arms further forward to open your chest and the front of your shoulders, slightly bend your elbows and lift your shoulder bones to create more length in your neck. Couple more deep breaths here. Maybe switch the interlacing of your thumb and index fingers on top. Notice if that feels any different in your shoulders. Now land your fingertips either onto your thighs, shins, blocks in front of your feet, or the ground. Whatever you can reach most easily to firm into with your fingertips. As you inhale to lengthen your spine forward like a flat back, parallel to the floor. Draw the shoulders back and reach your chest through your upper arms. Keep shifting your weight forward, then exhale, bow towards your legs. Let's move to the breath twice more like this. Press firmly with your hands and inhale, stretch the top of your head towards your front wall. This pose is called half forward fold. Then exhale, forward fold. To the breath again, press with your hands, inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold into Uttanasana. And then bend the knees really generously and let your arms and torso hang. With your next inhalation, slowly roll your spine upright as if stacking one vertebra at a time. Lifting your head last, circle your shoulders behind you and roll them down. Let's try that a couple more times to the breath. Inhale, float your shoulders forward and up. Big exhale, release the shoulders back and down. Once more, inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Spread the toes, root down through the three bottom parts of your feet, the big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and the center of your heels. And then standing tall, shoulders right over the hips, lift through the back of the skull. Join your hands in prayer at your heart center and listen to the breath. This pose is called Hands in Prayer and Mountain Pose, or Padasana. Remember what your intention is for today's yoga practice. Cultivate the feeling of gratitude as we are saluting and thanking the sun. Sun salutation. See, we're going to take a slower version as we're warming up our whole body here. As you inhale, sweep your arms forward and roll your shoulders back and down, gazing up. Gently lift your chest.
As you exhale, feel free to bend the knees, slowly bow over your legs. Plant your fingertips on your legs, blocks or the floor, and inhale, lengthen your spine to half forward fold. Place your fingertips either on blocks or the ground outside of your heels, and step the left knee behind you to a kneeling lunge. We're gonna be here for a few breaths. Do what's more comfortable for your back knee. Tuck the toes or untuck the toes. But make sure that your front knee is safely aligned by stacking it directly on top of your front heel, not overbending it in front of the heel like this. And then have your hands as high as you need on blocks or the floor, right under your shoulders where you're able to lift the torso upright and relax the shoulders down. You can keep your hands down, or you can press your hands into the top of your front thigh and sink the hips a little more as you lift the spine out of the hips, or you can raise the arms overhead. Let's practice 3 more even Ujjayi breaths here as you steady your eyes on one focal point in front of you. On your next exhalation, place your hands flat on the ground and step back into any version of plank pose. Knees on the floor or legs straight. Inhale in plank pose, then exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin, so that you're sticking your tailbone up and hugging your elbows towards your ribs, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slither forward all the way down to your stomach with legs straight, entering cobra pose. Roll the shoulders back, relax them down. Exhale, press up to hands and knees, tuck your toes, and lift your pelvis high and back to downward facing dog. Invite a full length of breath in and out. On your next inhale, raise your left leg behind you. And as you exhale, gently step your left foot forward beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee. And feel free to place your hands on blocks if that allows you to lift your torso more easily and relax the shoulders. Remember, have the front knee right on top of the heel, but not in front of the heel. And you can either keep your hands down or press them onto the top of your left thigh as you're lifting your chest, your whole spine, or you can raise the arms overhead. Let's tune into 3 more deep breaths in Anjaneyasana, this kneeling lunge. On your next exhale, plant your fingertips at the top of your mat, framing your front foot, either on blocks or the floor. Step your right foot forward to meet the left in a standing forward fold. Press your fingertips on your blocks, your legs, or the ground, and inhale as you lengthen your spine forward. Exhale, fold. Press to your feet. Inhale as you slowly rise up, raising your arms in Urdhva Hastasana, gently coil your chest up. Then, as though blessing yourself, exhale, trace your hands in prayer from your crown to your heart center. Let's take one more Surya Namaskar C, this slow version, onto the second side. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and roll your shoulders back and down. Exhale, feel free to bend the knees so you can lengthen the spine most easily as you forward fold. Press into your legs, blocks or the floor. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Place your fingertips on the ground or bring the blocks with you outside of your heels and step the right knee back to a kneeling lunge. Front knees right over the heel. You could keep your hands down. You could press your hands into the top of your left thigh, or you can raise the arms overhead. 3 more deep breaths. On your exhalation, plant your hands flat on the floor and step back into your version of plank pose. Knees on the ground or legs straight.
Inhale, lift through the belly and plank. Exhale, lower your knees, chest, then chin, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slither forward onto your belly into Cobra Pose, rolling the shoulders back. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips back, downward facing dog. Pause here for one full cycle of breath, steadying your gaze. Then on your next inhale, sweep your right leg up behind you. Exhale, softly step the foot forward beside your right thumb, lower your left knee, and decide where you want to place your hands here so you can breathe most easily. Lift your spine, relax your shoulders. You could set them on blocks, press them on the top of your right thigh, or raise the arms. 3 breaths. On your exhale, land your fingertips at the top of your mat on blocks of the floor. Then step your left foot forward into a forward fold. Press down with your hands and inhale, lengthen your spine forward, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Press to your feet, inhale, slowly rise. Raise the arms overhead and roll the shoulders back and down. Once again, as though blessing yourself, trace your hands in prayer, exhaling them to your heart center. So we're warming up in different directions. Let's go laterally this time. Step the feet a little bit wider than hips distance. Parallel, inhale, raise the arms overhead. Now with your right hand, take hold of your left bent elbow. Lift up through the sides of your waist, but relax the shoulders down and hug in the front ribs. For about 4 breaths, side bend to your right. With each in-breath, press down into the floor with the left foot deeper and lift your spine from your pelvis. With your out breath, continue to side bend, just finding your range over to the right. Now imagine you could breathe deeper into your left lung and all the way down to that left outer hip. Draw in your lower belly and inhale, rise up, lift the arms straight and switch. Use the left hand to hold your right bent elbow. Exhale as you side bend to your left. Inhale, press the right foot deeper, lift the spine. Exhale, continue to side bend. One more full breath here, this lateral extension of your spine. Firming in the belly, inhale, rise up, and release the arms. Shake them out. Shake anything out. Remember that shaking is one way to get any stuck energy moving. So you might even make some sounds or flutter out the lips like this. Few more moments of shaking. Anything that needs to shake. As you remember that animals in the wild, once they're done running from their predator, and after that stress response, that fight, flight, freeze, and collapse, they actually go off to a safe space and shake all that energy of stress out. We as humans can actually do the same thing to regulate our nervous system. Okay, take your blocks with you and come up to the front of your mat. Let's frame your 2 feet at the heels with the blocks on their tallest height and step your left knee back. Step your right foot here to the right side of your right hand. So now you have a wider width across your legs. We're gonna come into lizard lunge here. So first, notice how this feels. If it feels like you need more cushion under your left knee, you could grab your folded blanket and place it there, or you could fold your mat just on the left side to make it thicker, like this, under your left knee. Now notice if you want to stay up high on the blocks, that's more comfortable for your body, or remember that you can adjust the height of the blocks if you need them any lower, or if it feels fine, you can go even further into sensations by coming down onto your forearms, whether you place them on blocks or the floor. Now remember to keep your front knee safe by not bending it
or over bending it in front of the heel, but keeping it just on top of the heel. And then from here, there's several more options before we stay for several breaths. You can either keep the right foot flat on the floor, hug the right knee close to your right shoulder as you scissor the right hip back. Notice what sensations you're experiencing here. Or if you're looking more for an outer thigh IT band region stretch, flex your right foot, spread the toes up towards the kneecap to stabilize the right knee while you splay open your right thigh like this. So you're leaning the knife outer edge of the right foot onto the floor, but you're not sickling the foot, collapsing onto the ankle. You can stay in this position, or you could add a stretch for your left hip flexor and quadricep by bending your left knee, making sure your weight is on your left thigh as you do this, not on the kneecap, and then backstroking your right arm, catching hold of your left foot. You can open up the front of the right shoulder and bring the left foot gently closer to your glutes. So you have a lot of options. Think of it as a buffet. Take what serves you and leave what doesn't. Now, find a way to be still. Bring your attention back to regulating the breath, balancing in and out for another 5 slow Ujjayi breaths. As you arrive at the bottom of the 5th exhalation, if you have your back foot, gently lower it. Let's take our time transitioning here. We're going to come back to a standing forward fold at the top of the mat. So use your blocks under your hands as you might need. Place the right foot in between the hands and then step the left foot forward, forward fold. And then bend the knees a lot here and hold opposite elbows. Just take a moment. Maybe you do a little bounce and just notice how that might be soothing. Or you sway the spine, maybe shake and nod the head. A few more breaths. Now take your blocks and place them on their tallest height to frame your heels. Feet hips width apart to start. And step your right knee behind you into a kneeling lunge. Once here, step the left foot to the left side of your left hand so you have a wider width across the legs. Make sure again that your front knee is right on top of the ankle, not in front of it. And then take your time to really pay attention to the sensations that come up in your body here that guide you to where your body wants to go, where it wants to find some open space. Maybe you come down lower on blocks, maybe you come down on forearms, or none of that. And one side might be different from the other, so notice what you're doing to honor that here. Now, if you're looking for more of an IT band stretch, right, the outer thigh, flex your left foot, curl the toes up towards the shin. Let me move aside so you can see it. And splay open your left thigh so you're leaning the entire left edge of the foot on the ground without collapsing the outer ankle. And then if it's available, you could also bend the right knee, scoot it back slightly so you're leaning your weight on your right thigh, but not your kneecap. And then backstroke the left arm to catch hold of your right foot as you gently bring it closer. You're rolling the left shoulder open. Gently scissor left hip towards the rear of your mat as you lengthen your crown and torso towards the front. Now let's tune in to 5 more steady, even breaths. When you've come to the bottom of your fifth exhalation, we're going to exit differently this time. So start to make your way into child's pose for a few breaths, where you step both knees behind you, bring the feet together so the inner edges of them are touching, and either have your knees together or apart, as wide apart as you like. Sit all the way back onto your heels and rest your forehead either on the ground or a block, whatever's comfortable. And the arms could be forward, they could be down by your sides. And let's tune into 5 even breaths here. Again, observing any sensations moving through your body. Letting go of the stories that the mind likes to create about the sensations, but just being in the embodiment of presence, this aliveness of your body. Empty the next breath really slowly. And then you want to reach for your blanket, slide it off to the side near the top of your mat. Make sure your pillow is somewhere around there, just in case, as well as one block. And then slither all the way down to your stomach. We're going to come into a pronated version of tree pose, lying down on our bellies. So start by turning out your right thigh bone at the hip socket. Bend the right knee to the right and slide the sole of your right foot against your inner left leg, anywhere along the leg that feels appropriate for you, closer to the ankle, closer to the groin. And then once you're there, notice how your lower back is communicating to you. It may want you to place a blanket or some kind of cushion under your inner right knee, like this, or not. And then you can either turn your head in one direction as you rest it on your forearms like a pillow, or you can lie face down by placing your block under your forehead like this. But make sure your shoulders are relaxed, your neck feels open, long. And then this time, I'm gonna watch the clock for 2 minutes before we switch legs. So find a way to be still here. As you might remember that these restorative postures that are held in stillness for longer periods of time are also meant to help us to welcome stillness when we're sitting in meditation. Notice where your mind goes when your body is still, without judgment, just bringing awareness. And if the attention is straying away from the body in the present moment, come back to listening to your breath, regulating balance in the breath.
Empty the next breath all the way out. And then slowly begin to slide your right leg straight behind you. Turn out your left thigh bone at the hip socket, bending the left knee to your left side. And then slide the sole of your left foot against your inner right leg. And experiment with where along that leg your left hip is willing to have that foot go, closer to your groin, closer to your ankle. Notice how it affects any feeling in your lower back. You might play with placing your folded blanket under your inner left knee and see how that feels. And if you were turning your head in one direction on the first side of this pose, then you might want to turn your head in the opposite direction. Otherwise, you might place your forehead on a block and lie face down. And then make any last little adjustments so that you can be relaxed in stillness for 2 minutes. Come back to the sound, rhythm of your breath. Now take your time sliding your left leg straight behind you as well. Reach for your pillow, and you might decide whether to use a pillow or your folded blanket, depending on the thickness that serves you best. But cross that pillow along the middle of your mat like this, and then drape your pelvis on top of that pillow as you come into Sphinx pose. Placing the elbows on the ground, forearms in front of you parallel to each other. Roll your shoulders back and down, and then spread your toes on the ground. Press downward through the tops of your feet, through every toenail, and think about lengthening your tailbone back towards your inner heels as you lengthen your chest forward. Looking slightly down, lengthen the back of your neck. Now you can decide to keep your forearms on the floor or experiment with coming into Cobra, planting the hands closer to you and rolling the shoulders further back, lifting the chest a little higher. Now as you're here, you might want to move the shoulders a bit, like isolating, rotating one shoulder back and then the other, maybe even looking behind you over one shoulder and notice how that feels on your neck.
Any organic movements here for about 10 slow breaths. You might come up and down, in and out of cobra. Or widen the hands and come onto the fingertips in cobra. Last 2 or 3 breaths. And then begin to press up slowly onto all fours, hands and knees, so that you can slide your legs out in front of you and come to sit at the center of your mat. Take your strap and please place it along the side of the rear of your mat, somewhere off to the side there for later. And then place your 2 blocks as well near the rear end of your mat where you can reach for it when you're lying down. And then come on down to onto your back. Bend your knees, step your feet on the ground, hips width apart, parallel to each other. And then slide the shoulders down your back. Open up the chest, relax the neck. We're going to come into a little more opening into the front of the hips, the hip flexors, or bringing the hips into extension. So take one of your blocks to start. Oops. And as you press your feet down, lift your pelvis off the floor and slide the lowest height of that block wide across your sacrum, which is the flat part of your lower back. Adjust the block so that it feels comfortably and stably supporting you. We can rest all your weight down. And just notice how that feels for a moment. Now, one option is to keep this height of the block under you. Another option is to either tilt that block to the second level up, so a little higher, or use 2 blocks stacked, both at their lowest height. And that might feel a little more stable if you're wanting a wider base of support beneath. So play with it, experiment, observe how your body is telling you what it wants. And then once you've decided, and that block feels pretty symmetrical underneath, stable, separate your feet a little wider apart than hips distance and drop your knees towards each other. They might either touch, or if you want to rest them on something, you could hug a block between your thighs and knees, like this. So it just feels a little more supported. And then as you roll the shoulders back, turn the palms to face up, down by your sides, slide the arms really close to your side ribs so that you can open up the chest. Tilt your chin back. Open up the throat. And let's practice again that counting to 5 as you breathe in, counting to 5 as you breathe out. And then we'll increase it to 6, and then we'll increase it to 7. All through the nose. Empty this breath. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Count another round at least on your own, or keep counting if that helps to relax your mind. You might even lengthen it slower. Sense how regulating your breath in this way feels in your body, in your mind, in your energy. Give it another 3 to 5 breaths in this position before you begin to lower your pelvis all the way to the ground, removing the block. With no block between your legs as well, keep your feet apart as they are on the floor, knees bent. Just gently windshield wiper your shins, so dropping both knees to the right, both knees to the left a few times, slowly, like the breath. Massaging your glutes and your lower back on the ground. Then roll over to one direction all the way so that you can slowly lift your torso upright to sit. Let's prepare to practice another breathing technique that will prepare us for Shavasana, corpse pose, a deeper relaxation and stillness, and meditation for 5 minutes at the end. So find a way to sit, and I invite you, if it's comfortable, to sit in some form of hero's pose, Virasana, as we continue opening up the fronts of the hips and thighs, if you're still wanting that. And that's where you place your knees in front of you like this. Either sit on your heels or on a block between your ankles. If this is not comfortable, sit in a way that is for you, where you can feel tall in your spine, grounded, and whole body relaxed. So this breathing technique is called Nodi Shodhana Pranayama, or alternate nostril breathing. It's a way to help tune inward while balancing your energy, the energies of Shiva and Shakti, or yin and yang, yin being the more introspective stillness energy and the yang being the more active, extroverted energy. So it's practiced by still breathing through the nose, slow and gentle, no longer narrowing the back of the throat to create a sound, and resting the left hand on your lap. You could place it in a mudra to accentuate the feeling tone or bhavanam that you're inviting in. For example, grounding, you can bring the thumb and index fingers to touch and place the palm face down. Or tuning inward, helping to elevate into higher states of meditation, same shape in the hand, palm face up. Or energizing, looks like a peace sign. It's called Pran Mudra, and place the palm face up. Now with the right hand, stick out your thumb, pinky, and ring fingers. With the lips closed, we'll close the right nostril with the right thumb like this. And we'll close the left nostril with a ring and pinky fingers like this. Alternate nostril breathing, Nodi Shodhana Pranayama. As you practice this, you might close your eyes and tune your attention inward, whether visualizing which nostril you're breathing into and out of, or steadying a gaze on one point in the body, like your third eye center. We'll practice 3 cycles of this technique together, and then continue 2 cycles on your own. Let's prepare to begin. Sit tall and relaxed, left hand in the mudra, eyes closed if that's comfortable. Stick out right thumb, pinky ring, and empty this breath. Hold it out. Right thumb closed, right nostril. Inhale slowly through left. Hold the breath. Close left. Exhale slowly through right. Hold the breath. Inhale through right. Hold. Close right. Exhale through left. Hold. Second cycle, inhale left. Hold. Close left. Exhale right. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Close right. Exhale left. Hold. Third cycle. Inhale left. Hold. Close left. Exhale right. Hold. Inhale right. Hold. Close right. Exhale left. Hold. Continue 2 more cycles on your own. When you finish, breathe naturally and sit for a moment observing what you feel after that. Keeping your eyes closed, please begin to lower your body gently all the way to the ground, finding a comfortable way to lie down in stillness for corpse pose, Shavasana. We'll be here for about 4 or 5 minutes resting before we begin sitting in 5 minutes of meditation. Close the eyes and let your attention drop deeper inward.
Now let your body remain still, eyes closed. Notice how your body feels in this moment. Sense how it's responding to your practice of yoga. Then be very gentle as you begin to move small parts of your body first, little by little, waking it up. Gently turn your head, raise your arms overhead, and begin to roll over onto your right side, resting your head, pausing for a few moments to observe your breath just as it is. As you feel the qualities of the breath now, notice how you're feeling energetically as a result of your practice. Begin lifting your body up again, finding a comfortable way to sit where you can feel grounded, alert, open at the heart center, and at ease. Maybe placing your hands in a mudra of your choice and closing the eyes if that works for you. Otherwise, you can steady a soft gaze ahead at eye level. Sitting for 5 minutes in meditation, I invite you to notice where in your body you can most easily rest your awareness on the breath, feeling it coming and going in its natural state. And let your attention easily remain there. If it strays away from the breath, as soon as you notice, gently re-guide it back as many times as you need. Be kind and gentle with yourself. And now I invite you to sense the energy of your heart, noticing any emotions feeling alive in you right now. Letting the breath in its natural state hold space for whatever emotions. Now resting your awareness on your heart's energy. What would it feel like for your energetic heart to cultivate a smile? It might entail conjuring images of what brings you joy in this life.
through that inner smile radiating from your heart energy center. Imagine your own inner lights from deep within, your true nature shining through from the inside to the outer layers of your being. As you remember your innate goodness, yoga is the uniting of consciousness at the heart, remembering our true nature, joy. You might bring your hands to meet at your heart as you recognize what you're feeling now, mentally and emotionally. Breathing into your heart space, let it rise and expand, keeping it lifted and open. Exhale through the mouth. What is something you'd like to offer gratitude for in this moment? And then remember what your intention was for today's practice. Also remember whom you chose to dedicate this practice to today. That offering of loving kindness to someone or something. And let's close, joining in 3 chants of Om. Inhale deeply. Bowing in, honoring the light within you. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.